Hi Aldrin. Today I think we should talk about something that is quite common but also controversial on campus, which is smoking.
Yeah, I agree. Smoking on campus is actually an interesting topic because we can see students, staff, or even visitors smoking in some area.
Exactly. And personally, I don't think smoking should be allowed anywhere on campus.
Anywhere? You mean even in a outdoor area?
Yes, in my opinion, campus should be a healthy and comfortable environment for everyone. Smoking can affect not only the smoker but also other people around them.
I understand your point, but I don't completely agree. I think smoking should be restricted but not necessarily completely prohibited. Maybe the campus should provide designated smoking area.
That's where we have different opinion. I think designated smoking areas can still create problem
Why do you think so?
because cigarette smoke doesn't always stay in one place. Even if smokers are special given a special area, the smoke can spread to other places, especially if the smoking area is close to the classroom, office, or place where students usually gather.
That's true, but smoking area displays airways from classroom and public space. Would that reduce the problem?
It could reduce the problem, but still think the campus should prioritize a completely smoke-free environment.
Let's talk about the health issue first. Why do you think smoking on campus is especially problematic?
Because campus is a place where people spend many hours every day. Students attend the classes, study, participate in organization, and interact with other students. If they are constantly exposed to cigarette smoke, it can affect their health and comfort.
You mean secondhand smoke?
Yes, a person doesn't have to smoke to be affected by cigarette smoke. Imagine someone walking to class and passing a group of people who are smoking. They might inhale the smoke even though they don't want to.
I agree secondhand smoke are concerned smokers also choice, don't they?
They have the right to make personal choices, but I think that right has limits when it affects other people.
Then their choice doesn't necessarily affect everyone.
That's why that's why you support designated smoking areas.
Exactly. I'm not saying people should be allowed to smoke everywhere. I'm saying there should be a balance between smokers and non-smokers.
But would it be better if the campus simply encouraged smokers to stop smoking?
Okay. Quitting isn't easy. Some people have been smoking for years. For years.
That's true. Some smoking can become a habit and even an addiction.
Exactly. So if the university immediately say no smoking anywhere, some smoker may ignore the rules.
But that's a problem of enforcement, not necessarily a reason to allow smoking.
But regulation need to be realistic. If a rule is too strict and people don't follow it, then the rule become ineffective.
So, what do you think about students who start smoking because of their friends?
That's another serious problem. Peer pressure can influence student, especially new student.
Exactly. If students see other students smoking freely on campus, they might think that smoking is a normal or acceptable.
Yes, especially when they see senior students smoking, younger student may think if they can smoke here, then it must be okay.
That's why I think the campus should set a strong example,
What kind of example?
a clear message that smoking is not a part of healthy campus culture.
Okay, I agree with the message, but I think education is more important than simply punishment.
Why?
Because if the university only say don't smoke, students may not understand why. The university should explain the health risk, the impact on other people, and the financial consequence.
That's a good point. Education can make students understand the reason behind the rule.
Exactly. For example, the campus could hold campaigns about the danger of smoking, provide information about quitting, and create counseling program for students who won't stop.
I think that would be useful, but I would combine education with strict regulations.
So you support both prevention and enforcement?
Absolutely. Education tells people why they shouldn't smoke, while enforcement makes sure the rules are followed.
Okay. Let's turn to the smoking area issue. If you were the university rector, what would you do?
I would make the entire campus smoke free.
Even parking lots?
Yes. If the parking lot is still part of the campus.
What about an area outside the main campus gate?
If it is not university property, that's a different situation. But inside the campus, I would prohibit smoking.
I think that would be difficult to enforce.
Why?
Because campus can be very large. There may be hundreds or thousands of students. Security officers can monitor every corner.
That's true. But the university can use sign and clear regulations.
Since alone may not be enough.
Then there should be consequences for people who violate the rules.
What kind of consequence?
For students, perhaps a warning for the first violation followed by community service or another educational sanction for repeated violations.
I think that's more reasonable than immediately giving a heavy punishment.
I agree. The purpose shouldn't only be punishment. The purpose should be changing behavior.
But let's consider the other side. Do you think smokers have right on campus?
They have right as individuals, of course, but I don't think they have the right to expose other people to cigarette smoke.
So the key issue is where they smoke?
Yes, partly, but I also think that university has a responsibility to protect students.
I agree with that. However, I think smokers should ultimately be treated as irresponsible people.
I agree. Someone can be a good student or a good person and still smoke.
Exactly. We should judge someone's entire personality based on whether they smoke.
But we can still criticize the behavior.
Of course.
For example, I wouldn't hate someone because they smoke. But if they smoke next to me while I'm studying, I would definitely object.
I would object too.
So we actually agree on one more thing than expected.
Maybe we do.
There's also another problem: cigarette waste.
You mean cigarette butts?
Yes, sometimes people throw cigarette butts on the ground.
That's definitely a problem.
It makes the campus dirty, and cigarette butts can be difficult to clean.
That's one reason why, if smoking areas are provided, they should have proper cigarette disposal containers.
But again, that still means the university has to manage the waste.
Yeah, I don't think cigarette waste would be impossible to manage.
Perhaps, but I still prefer reducing the source of the waste instead of managing it afterwards.
That's good.
Thank you.
You're welcome. What about social pressure? Do you think smoking can influence campus culture?
Definitely. If smoking becomes common in a particular group, students may feel pressure to smoke just to fit in.
That's true. But because their friends are doing it?
Especially during social events.
Yes, for example, students meet gather after class, talk, drink coffee, and smoke together.
And students who don't smoke may feel uncomfortable joining the group.
But isn't that also a social choice?
To some extent, yes. But campus should provide social spaces where students don't have to deal with cigarette smoke.
Okay, I agree. For example, outdoor seating areas, student lounges, and open space where smoking is currently provided.
Yes. That would make non-smokers feel more comfortable.
Let me ask you difficult questions. If smoking is completely banned on campus, do you think students will actually stop smoking?
Not necessarily.
So the ban will make them quit?
It might not. Some students will probably continue smoking outside campus.
Then what's the main purpose of the ban?
The purpose isn't necessarily to make every smoker quit. The purpose is to create a healthier environment for everyone on campus.
That's a destination.
Yes, a campus smoking ban doesn't automatically mean that every smoker will stop smoking. It means they can smoke in a place where it can affect other people.
I understand your position.
And I understand your argument about designated smoking areas.
Maybe we can find a middle ground.
Yeah, sure.
First, smoking should be provided inside classroom, office, libraries, laboratories, cafeterias, and other public area.
I agree.
Second, the university could create a limited smoking area far away from major student activity.
I'm still not completely convinced, but continue.
Or places where non-smokers have to pass.
That makes sense.
For the university should provide educational program about smoking and support students who want to quit.
Strongly, I agree with you.
So maybe we aren't actually that far apart.
I agree with that too.
Uh,
Maybe not. I still believe a completely smoke-free campus would be better, but I can understand that. Implementing such a policy may take time.
but I still believe.
So, if you were a smoker, would you be willing to follow a campus smoking policy?
Yes, if we're a smoker, then I should respect the rules, especially if the university clearly explained them.
Would you be willing to quit?
I will try, but I think quitting is a personal process. Some people can quit immediately, while others need professional support.
That's true.
What about you? If one of your choice friends smoke, what
yes.
you tell them to quit?
Sorry.
Okay.
Yes, but I wouldn't force them. I would explain why thinking quitting would be better for their health.
That's probably the best approach.
I think forcing someone can actually make them defensive.
Exactly.
But if they smoked around me, I would definitely ask them to move somewhere else.
Fair enough.
So, after this discussion, what do you think is the most important thing about smoking on campus?
For me, it's about balance. We need to respect smokers as individuals while also protecting non-smokers from cigarette smoke.
For me, the most important thing is creating a healthy campus environment. Students should be able to study without being exposed to smoke.
I think we both agree that smoking should be allowed everywhere on campus.
Yes, we also agree that education, clear rules, and enforcement are important.
The main difference is that I support designated smoking area. Will you prefer a completely smoke-free campus?
That's correct.
But maybe the most important thing is that students understand the reason behind the policy.
Absolutely. A rule will be more effective if people understand why it exists.
And instead of judging smoker, we should encourage them to make healthy choice.
Yes, we can disagree with smoking without disrespecting smokers.
That's good way to end the discussion.
I agree.
So Sultan, after 20 minutes of 10 minutes talking about smoking, what do you think? Should get some coffee?
Sure, but we're not allowed to smoke while drinking.
Don't worry, I wasn't planning to.
Good.
Thanks for the discussion, Sultan.
Thank you too, Aldrin.
See you next time.
Hey Aldrin, what are you doing?
I'm just thinking about our conversation topic for today.
All right. Maybe we need to talk about giving ideas for the Indonesian police.
Police. Yes, I think this is quite interesting topic because the police have an important role in society.
Okay, I agree. The police are responsible for the maintaining security and enforcing the law and maybe protecting the community.
Exactly. But I think there are still something that could be improved.
Okay, I agree. In my opinion, one of the most important things is improving the relationship between the police and the public.
Why do you think that is important?
Maybe because the police cannot work effectively without public trust. People need to be comfortable reporting crimes, asking for help, and communication with police officers. If people don't trust the police, they may be afraid to them to report the problems.
That's good point. I think trust is one of the most important things in law enforcement.
Exactly. Even if the police have a good equipment and strong authority, their work will be difficult if the public doesn't trust them.
So what do you think the police can do to improve public trust?
Okay, I think they need to improve communication with the community. Police officers should not only appear when there is a crime or an emergency. They should also interact with the people during normal situation.
What kind of interaction do you mean?
Maybe for example, police officers could visit school, universities, and maybe neighborhoods, and also community organization. They could talk to people about safety, traffic rules, cybercrime, drugs, and also other problems.
Okay. I think that's a good idea. It could make police officer more approachable.
Okay, exactly. Sometimes people only see police officers when they are dealing with a problem. If officers regularly interact with the community, people see them not only as a law enforcer, but also as a people who are there to help.
Okay, I agree. Communication should also work both ways.
What do you mean?
The police should only give information to the public. They should also listen to complaints and suggestions from the community.
Okay, that's very important. If people feel that their opinions are being heard, they may have more confidence in the police.
Exactly. Maybe the police could organize regular community meetings where people can discuss local security problems.
Okay, that's a practical idea. Different communities have different problems too, so the police need to understand the situation directly. Maybe another idea I have is improving police service through the technology.
I agree. Technology is becoming more important in public service.
Okay. For example, some police service could be made easier through online system.
Okay.
Like people should be able to access information, submit reports, or maybe check the progress of certain service without always having to visit a police station.
That could save a lot of time.
Exactly. Imagine someone to report a problem but has to spend hours driving to a police station and waiting in line. If there is a reliable digital service, the process could be more efficient.
But I think there is one important issue.
What is it?
Not everyone is comfortable with technology. Some elderly people or people in area with limited internet access may still need traditional service.
That's true. So technology shouldn't completely replace face-to-face service.
Exactly. It should provide another people
I agree.
or another option.
The police could have both digital and a traditional service, so people can choose what works best for them.
And the digital system should also be easy to use. If the application is complicated, people may become trusted.
That's an important point. Technology is useful only if people can actually use it, right?
Yes, I also think my professionalism is very important.
I agree. What kind of professionalism do you mean?
Police officers interact with many different kind of people every day. They need to remain professional, respectful, and patient, even when dealing with difficult situations.
That's true. Police officers have authority, so how they use that authority is very important.
Exactly. Having authority doesn't mean that officers can treat people however they want.
Okay, I see. I agree. Officers should explain the reason behind their actions whenever possible, especially when dealing with the public.
Yes, clear communication can prevent misunderstanding.
For example, maybe when officers stop someone during a traffic inspection, they should communicate clearly and maybe respectfully.
I agree. People are more likely to cooperate when they understand what is happening.
That's why I think communication skill should be an important part of a police training.
Definitely, police training should only focus on physical abilities and law enforcement technique.
It should also include communication, right? Conflict management, ethics, psychology, and also the public service.
Exactly. Police officer need both technical skills and social skills.
Okay, Aldrin, what do you think about the way police complaints should be handled?
Okay, I think complaint should be handled seriously and transparently.
Why?
Because people need to know that if they experience inappropriate behavior from an officer, there is a clear process for reporting it.
Okay, I agree. The complaint process should also be easy to access, right?
Exactly. If the process is too complicated, people may give up before making a complaint.
And also, people should feel safe when reporting a complaint, right?
Yes, there should be protection against intimidation or retaliation.
I think transparency is also important. Of course, some information may need to remain confidential, but the public should know that complaints are actually being investigated.
That's true. If people never hear what happens after they make a complaint, they may think nothing was done.
So, in my opinion, a good complaint system can actually improve a public trust.
I agree. It shows that the institution is willing to evaluate itself and correct problems. Another idea I want to discuss is preventive policing.
What do you mean by that?
I think the police should only respond after a crime happens. They also focus on preventing crime before it happens.
I see. But how can they do that?
For example, they can identify areas where crime is more likely to happen and increase patrol there. They can also work with local community to identify problems early.
That makes sense.
School and university could also be involved. Police could educate young people about drugs, bullying, online crimes, cybercrime, and other risks.
I think educating young people is especially important because prevention can have a long-term effect.
Exactly. If young people understand the consequences of illegal activity, they may be less likely to get involved.
But I think the approach should not be too intimidating.
Okay, I'm agree. If police officer come to school only to give warning to scare students, students might become afraid of them.
Instead, officers could have not maybe have open discussion with students.
Yes, they could answer a question and explain real situation in a way that student can understand.
By the way, I also think the police should use social media more effectively.
Okay, definitely social media is one of the fastest way to communicate with young people.
The police could use social media not only to announce information, but also to educate people.
For example, they could make a short video about avoiding online scams or what people should do during an emergency.
Exactly. The content should be simple and easy to understand.
They could also respond to common questions from the public.
That's a good idea. Sometimes people don't know what to do when they facing a problem, right?
For example, if someone becomes a victim of an online scam, they may not know where to report it or what evidence they should keep.
The police could explain those steps through the social media.
Yes, that would make the police feel more accessible.
But the information must also be accurate.
Absolutely, official accounts should provide reliable information and avoid spreading unverified information.
Okay.
But since we're university students, I think we should also talk about relationship between the police and young people.
I agree. Young people are also very active on social media, and sometimes they have a different perspective on authority.
But the police need to understand how young people communicate what issue they care about.
What do you suggest?
I think the police could create more youth-oriented programs, for example, discussion at universities, public safety campaigns, or communication activity involving students.
I see. That could be most useful.
It could also help students understand the responsibility of police officers.
And the police could understand student concerns.
Exactly. But building a relationship early can make communication easier in the future.
I think that's important because young people are part of society too. Their opinion shouldn't be ignored. So, if we had the opportunity to give three main suggestions to Indonesian police, what would yours be?
My first suggestion would be to improve communication and trust with the public.
Okay.
The second would be to improve digital service.
Okay.
And the third would be to focus more to prevention and community cooperation.
I agree. Those are a good suggestion. For me, I will add professionalism and transparency.
Why are those two important to you?
Maybe because police officers have significant responsibilities and authority. People also need to believe that officers use that authority and professionalism and fairly.
For sure, I agree.
And I also think improvement shouldn't only come from the police themselves. The community also has a responsibility for that.
That's an important point.
And maybe people need to follow the law, cooperate with the officers, and report the law, and also avoid the spreading false information.
But public safety is not only the responsibility of the police. It requires cooperation between the police and the community.
So, in the end, I think the main goal shouldn't be creating a police institution that is professional, responsive, transparent, and also close to the community.
I agree, and I think improving trust should be a long-term process.
Yes. Trust cannot be built in a one day, right?
It requires consistent action.
Exactly. If the police consistently provide a good service, communicate well, listen to the people, and act professionally, public maybe trust can gradually improve.
And if the community also cooperates, the result can be even better.
Yeah, I see. I agree.
So, what do you think is the most important message from our discussion?
Maybe for me, the police should not only be seen as law enforcement. They should also be seen as a public servant who protect and serve the community.
I like that. For me, the most important thing is cooperation. The police and the public need each other to create a safe environment.
Exactly. I see.
Well, I think we'll create a lot of ideas.
Yes. Hopefully these ideas can give us a better understanding of what could be improved, right?
Okay. And hopefully, in the future, we can see stronger cooperation between the police and the community.
Yes, I hope so.
Thanks for the discussion, Amer.
Okay. You're welcome, Aldrin.
See you next time.
See you next time.
Actually, I've been thinking about something recently.
What are you thinking about, Lian?
I'm thinking about what we're going to do after they graduate.
That's a good topic. Graduation is getting closer, so I think we really need to start thinking about it.
Exactly. Sometimes I feel like we still have a lot of time, but actually, graduation is not that far away anymore.
That's true. 4 years of university won't be really quickly.
So, what are your plans after graduation?
Honestly, I have some plans, but I haven't made a final decision yet. I think I want to work first, but I also have interest in continuing my study.
That's interesting. Personally, I think I want to work immediately after graduation.
Why do you prefer working first?
There are several reasons. First, I want to gain practical experience. We've learned many theories and concepts at university, but I think working will teach us how those theories are actually applied in the real situation. I want to experience how organizations work, how people communicate in a professional environment, and how decisions are made.
I'm agree with you. Sometimes what we learn in class can be very different from what happen in the workplace.
Exactly. At university, we can discuss a problem from a theoretical perspective, but at work, we have to deal with real people, limited time, limited resources, and sometimes unexpected problems.
That's true. I think working first can also help us understand ourselves better.
What do you mean?
Sometimes we think we know what kind of career we want, but we haven't actually experienced it. After working for a while, we might discover what we really enjoy and we were good at.
I completely agree. That's another reason why I want to work first. I don't want to choose a career only because it sounds good. I want to experience it and understand whether it's really suitable for me.
So, what kind of job are you looking for?
Since we're studying public administration, I'm interested in working in the government sector. I'm interested in government administration, public services, and public policy.
So, do you want to become a civil servant?
Yes, becoming a civil servant is one of my goals. I think would be interesting to work in an institution that directly deals with public interests.
Why do you think working in the government sector is interesting?
Because I want to understand how public policies are implemented. We often learn about policies in class, but implementation can be complicated. There can be problems with resources, coordination, communication, and public participation. I want to experience that process directly.
That sounds good point. Public administration isn't only about making policies. We also have to think about whether those policies actually work for society.
Exactly. For me, a good job isn't only about earning money. I also want to feel that my work has a purpose.
I agree with that. Although I think salary is still an important factor.
Of course, we can ignore salary.
Exactly. I think there needs to be a balance. We need a job that gives us a reasonable income. But we should also consider the working environment, career development, and whether the job matches our interests.
That's how I see it too. I wouldn't want to work somewhere just because the salary is high if the working environment is unhealthy.
What do you mean by an unhealthy working environment?
For example, an environment where employees don't respect each other, communication is poor, or people are constantly under unnecessary pressure. I think those things can affect our motivation and even our personal life.
I agree. We might spend a large part of day at work, so the working environment is very important.
Another reason I want to work after graduation is because I want to become financially independent.
That's also one of my goals.
Our parents have supported us for many years. After graduation, I think we should gradually learn to support ourselves.
I agree, but I think financial independence doesn't mean that we can never accept help from our parents.
Of course, I don't mean that.
I mean that we should be able to manage our own needs and responsibility. We should depend completely on our parents once we start earning money.
Exactly. I want to learn how to manage my salary properly.
Have you thought about what you would do your first salary?
Yes, I probably save some of it, help my family, and use some for my own needs.
Would you buy anything for yourself?
Probably, maybe something I've wanted for a long time, but I don't want to spend my entire first salary on something unnecessary.
That's good. I think the first salary can be exciting, but we should let that exciting make us spend irresponsibly.
Exactly. Some people get their first salary and immediately buy an expensive phone or go on an expensive vacation.
There's nothing wrong with enjoying your money, but I think saving will come first.
I agree. We should have emergency saving because we don't know what might happen in the future.
Yes, we might lose our job, have an unexpected expense, or need money for future education.
That's why financial planning is important from the beginning.
Uh, that's actually one reason why I'm considering continuing my study.
Why?
I think further education could help me develop professionality. A master degree could give me deeper knowledge and possibly open more career opportunities.
Would you continue your studies immediately after graduation?
I'm not sure. Personally, I think working first would be better for me
Why?
because I want to understand what I actually need before choosing a master program. If I continue studying immediately, I may choose a program without really knowing how it connects to my career.
That's a reasonable argument.
For example, if I work for 2 years and realize that I really enjoy police analyst, then I can choose a master program that focus more on that area.
That makes sense. So, for you, working isn't the opposite of studying. Working would actually help you decide what you study later.
Exactly. I want my education to support my career, not just to collect degrees.
I like that way of thinking.
What about you? Would you ever consider getting a master degree?
Yes, but probably not immediately. I think I would work first and see where my career goes.
So, if your job requires a master degree for a higher position, would you consider it?
Definitely, I would also consider if it. I felt that I need more knowledge to do my job better.
That's good to reason continuing studying.
Before graduation, I think we also need to prepare ourselves by improving our skills.
I agree. A degree alone isn't enough anymore.
Exactly. We need communication skills, teamwork, problem solving skills, and technical skills.
I think digital skills are especially important now.
Yes, almost every workplace uses technology.
We may need to work with spreadsheet, presentation, database, digital communication platform, or other system.
And because we're studying public administration, I think data analysis is also become important.
Definitely, government organization increasingly use data to support decision making.
That's why I want to improve my ability to analyze data before graduation.
I also think English is important.
Absolutely.
Even if we work in Indonesia, English can give us more opportunity. We may need to read international research, communicate with international organizations, or apply for scholarship.
I agree. Personally, I still need to improve my speaking skills.
Me too.
Sometimes I understand English when I read it, but speaking is different.
Exactly. When we have to speak, sometimes we suddenly forget all the vocabulary we know.
That's so true.
That's why I think practicing conversation like this useful.
I agree. That more we practice, the more confident we become.
Uh, would you be willing to work outside our city after graduation,
Yes, I think I would.
even if you have to move far away from your family?
It would be difficult, but if the opportunity is good, I would consider it.
Why?
Because sometimes we have to leave our comfort zone to grow. Working in another city couldn't teach us how to become more independent and adapt to a new environment.
I agree. Living away from family can be difficult, but it can also make you more mature.
Exactly. We have to manage our own money, take care of ourselves, and solve our problems.
But I think we should also consider the cost of living.
Definitely, a high salary doesn't always mean a better job if the cost of living is extremely high.
That's true. We need to compare the salary with transportation, housing, food, and other expense.
So, choosing a job isn't as simple as looking at the salary.
Exactly. We have to look at the whole situation. So,
What do you think will be the biggest challenge after graduation?
for me, I think the biggest challenge will be finding a job that matches my skill and interest.
Why do you think that's difficult?
Because there are many graduates competing for jobs. Sometimes we may have good grade but still not get accepted because another candidate has more experience or better skill.
That's true. Rejection is probably something we have to prepare for.
Yes, I think we should expect to get our dream job immediately.
I agree. Our first job might not be our ideal job.
But that doesn't mean it's failure.
Exactly. Our first job can be a place where we gain experience and learn about the professional world.
I think the important thing is not to stay a situation where we're not learning anything.
That's true. If we keep learning and developing, even a job that isn't our dream job can still be valuable.
Another challenge is adapting to workplace culture.
Definitely.
At university, we can choose. We work within a workplace. We don't have the choice. We may have to work with people who have very different personality.
That's why communication and emotional intelligence are important.
Exactly. We need to know when to speak, when to listen, and how to deal with disagreement professionally.
I think university group projects have actually prepared us for that.
Especially when one member doesn't do their work.
Exactly.
That's definitely a lesson for the future.
Where do you see yourself 5 years after graduation?
That's a difficult question.
Just imagine.
Okay, in 5 years, I hope I have a stable career and enough experience to take on bigger responsibility. I also hope I can continue my education, maybe by getting a master degree.
What about your financial situation?
I hope I have enough saving and can help my family financially. I also like to start investing if my income allow it.
That's a good long-term plan.
What about you?
In 5 years, I hope I'm working in a government institution and have a developed strong professional skill. I don't necessarily need to have a very high position, but I want people to trust me and recognize me that I can do my job well.
That's good. So you care more about competence than position?
Yes, I think a high position without enough knowledge or experience is very meaningful.
I agree. A position comes with responsibility.
Exactly. If someday I become a leader, I want to be someone who can guide people and make good decisions, not just someone who gives orders.
That's good ambition. What about your personal life after graduation?
I don't want my life to be only about work.
What about do you mean?
I want to have a good work-life balance. I want to work seriously, but I also want time for my family, friends, hobbies, and health.
Okay, I agree. Sometimes people focus too much on their career and forget to take care of themselves.
Exactly. What the point of having a successful career if we're always exhausted and have no time for the people who care about?
That's true. I also want to travel after I have a stable income.
Where would you like to go?
Maybe Japan or USA.
Why those countries?
I'm interested in their culture and public transportation. I also want to experience living in a different environment.
That sounds fun.
What about you, Gayan?
I'd like to travel around Indonesia first.
Okay,
There are still many places here that I haven't visited.
that sounds like a good. That's true. We don't always have to travel abroad to have a good experience.
Do you think we have followed exactly what we planned after graduation?
No, I don't think so.
Why?
Because life can change unexpected. We might find an opportunity we never considered before, or we might realize that our original plan isn't suitable anymore.
I agree. I think having a plan is important, but being flexible is just as important.
Exactly. A plan should give us direction, not trap us.
That's a good way to put it.
For example, maybe I plan to work in government, but then I get an opportunity in a private organization that gives me valuable experience. I should be reject it immediately just because it was part of my original plan.
I agree. We should evaluate opportunities based on their potential, not just whether they match our original plan.
Exactly.
But I think there's one thing we shouldn't compromise on.
What is it?
We should know what kind of person we want to become.
What do you mean?
Our job, city, salary, and position can change, but our value should remain. We should try to become responsible, honest, hardworking, and useful for other people.
I agree with that. Career goals can change, but our principles should guide our decision.
So, after talking about all of this, do you feel ready for life after graduation?
Honestly, not completely.
Me neither.
But I think that's normal. Nobody really knows exactly what will happen after graduation.
True. The important thing is that we start preparing now.
We need to improve our skill, gain experience, build connection, and prepare ourselves mentally.
And we shouldn't be afraid of failure.
Exactly. We may get rejected from job, make mistake, or change our plan.
But those experiences can help us grow.
I think the biggest mistake would be doing nothing because we're afraid of making the wrong decision.
I agree. Sometimes making a decision and learning from it is better than waiting forever for the perfect plan.
So, what's your biggest goal after graduation?
To build a career that I'm proud of, become financially independent, and contribute something useful to society.
That's good goal.
What about you?
I want to build a stable career, continue learning, support my family, and hopefully become a better person through the process.
I think that's are good goals.
Hopefully, a few years from now, we'll look back at this conversation and realize that all our hard work was worth it.
I hope so.
And hopefully, we'll still be friends.
Of course, even if we work in different cities.
There.
Well, I think we've talked enough about the future.
Yeah, we still have to finish our achievement first.
And our final project.
Don't remind me.
Come on, our future starts with finishing what we have to do today.
That's actually true.
So let's focus on graduating first.
And then we'll deal with the future one step at a time.
Exactly.
Good luck with your future, Gayan.
Good luck to Adrian.
Hopefully, we'll both achieve our goals.
Hopefully.
See you.
See you.
Hey Aldrin, what are you doing? You look really busy.
Hey Hafiz, I'm working on my English assignment.
English assignment? I thought our English class was already finished.
It is, but I'm doing a remedial assignment.
A remedial assignment? Why? Did you get a bad grade?
Yeah, unfortunately, my English grade wasn't very satisfying.
Oh, I see. What happened?
Actually, my grade wasn't good enough because my performance in the previous English assignment wasn't very good. So I have to do a remedial assignment.
What kind of remedial assignment do you have to do?
It is a conversation assignment.
A conversation assignment?
Yes, I have to make a conversation with four different people and for topic, and each person has a yes, you know.
Oh wow, that's quite a lot of work.
Yeah, it is. That's why I've been busy like lately.
So you have to make 4 conversation in total.
Exactly. 4 people and 4 different topic.
Who are the other people you're doing the assignment with?
I'm still arranging the schedule with them. We have to find a time when everyone is available.
Oh, that sounds like another challenge.
It definitely is.
Can I ask you something? Are you disappointed about having to do remedial?
At first, yes, I was a little disappointed because I want to get a good grade from the beginning.
I understand. Nobody wants to be told that their grade is good enough.
Yes, exactly. At first, I felt like had failed.
But do you think the remedial is actually a bad thing?
Not anymore. After thinking about it, I think it can actually be a second chance.
Why do you say that?
Because I have another opportunity to improve my grade. More importantly, I have another opportunity to practice my English.
That's a good way of looking at.
I realized that my previous performance wasn't as good as it could have been. Sometimes I wasn't confident when speaking English, and I didn't practice enough.
So you think your lack of practice affect your grade?
Definitely, I understand English reasonably well when I read something, but speaking is different.
What is difficult about speaking?
Sometimes I know what I want to say, but I don't know how to express it in English. I also worry about making grammar mistake.
I think that's a common problem.
Yes, sometimes I spend too much time thinking about grammar, and then I lose the flow of conversation.
That's why conversation practice in important.
That's it. Maybe this remedial assignment will actually help me become more confident.
So, what are the four topics?
The topic are different. I have to talk about pen after graduation, giving ID for the Indonesian policeman, opinion about smoking on campus area, and another topic related to university life.
Those are actually interesting topics. Yeah.
Yes, but they are also challenges because I have to prepare different vocabulary for each conversation.
Which topic do you think is the easiest?
I think the topic about plans after graduation is probably the easy because I can talk about my own plans.
That's true. When we talk about our personal experience, we don't have to memorize too many things.
Yes, I can talk about what kind of job I want, whatever I want to continue studying, and what I want to do in the future.
What about the topic about the Indonesian police?
That's more difficult because I need to think about my opinions to Indonesian police. Because Indonesian police. That's
Yeah, I know. What ideas are you planning to discuss?
I want to talk about improving communication between the police and the public, using technology to improve public service and building public trust.
These are good topics. Yeah.
Thanks, Hafiz, but I need to make sure I can explain them in English.
Let's practice one of your topics now. What are your plans after graduation?
After graduation,
Yeah.
I want to work first, and I want to gain experience and become financially independent.
What kind of job do you want?
I'm interested in working in the government sector because I'm studying public relation. I think working in government would allow me to apply what I've learned at university.
Would you like to continue your studies?
Maybe I may work for a few years first and then consider getting a master degree.
Why would you work first?
Because I want to understand the real working environment because deciding what I should study next. I think work experience can help me choose a master program that is relevant to my career.
That's a good answer.
Really?
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're answer is clear and you explain your reason instead of only giving a short answer.
Oh my god, thanks, Hafiz. I think that's one thing I need to improve for the assessment.
Yeah. Let's try the second topic. What ideas would you give to the Indonesian police?
I think the police could improve communication with the public. In my opinion, public trust is very important for law enforcement.
Why?
Because people need to feel comfortable when reporting crimes or asking the police for help. If people don't trust the police, they may be reluctant to report the problem.
What else could they improve?
I think technology could also be used to improve police service. For example, some service could be accessed online, so people don't always have to visit a police station.
Do you think technology alone is enough?
No. I think technology should support face-to-face service, not completely replace them. Some people may not be comfortable using digital service, especially older people.
That's a good point.
I also think police officers need strong communication skills. They should be professional, respectful, and able to explain things clearly to the public.
Your English sound better when you're talking about something you're prepared.
My English, maybe I still learning. That's because I still get nervous when I have to speak spontaneously.
Then you need to practice spontaneous conversation.
I know that's probably the hardest part.
What about the topic of smoking on campus?
That one is interesting because people can have different opinions.
What's your opinion?
I think smoking should be restricted on campus because non-smokers have the right to study in comfortable environment.
Should smoking be completely banned?
I'm not completely sure. I think there could be designated smoking area that are far away from classroom and public space.
Why don't you support a complete ban?
Because some smoker may find it difficult to stop immediately. If the university provides a designated area, smoker can follow the rules without disturbing other students.
But doesn't cigarette smoke still create health problems?
That's why the smoking area needs to be located carefully. It should be near classroom, entrance, or crowded area.
That's a balanced opinion.
I think that's what I need to do in conversation. I should just say what I think. I need to explain why I think that way.
Exactly. The lecturer probably want to see how well you can communicate your ideas in English.
That's what I'm trying to do.
How are you preparing for conversation?
I'm writing down some important vocabulary and ideas for each topic.
Are you memorizing the conversation?
No, I don't want to memorize everything because it might me sound unnatural.
That's a good decision.
I'm just preparing the main point, then I'll try speak naturally during the conversation.
I think that's better. If you memorize every sentence, you might panic when the other person say something unexpected.
Exactly, that's one of my concerns.
For example, if your partner suddenly asks a question that you didn't prepare, you need to know how to respond.
Yes, that's why I'm practicing different possible questions.
You should also practice asking questions, not only answering them.
Why?
Because a conversation needs two-way communication. If you only answer a question, it might sound like an interview.
That's true.
You can ask follow-up question like, "What do you think?" or "Why do you have that opinion?"
That's actually very useful.
Are you under pressure because this is a remedial assignment?
A little. I really want to improve my grade.
What happens if your result is still not good?
I don't even want to think about that.
Fine enough.
But honestly, I'm trying not to focus only on the grade. I also want to improving my skills. Yeah, my skills English, my speaking English.
That's the right mindset.
Before this remedial, I was afraid of speaking English because I thought people would judge my mistake.
And now,
Now I realize that making mistake is normal if I never speak because I'm afraid of mistake. I'll never improve.
exactly.
I think that's one of the biggest lesson if learn from this assessment.
So even though your grade was satisfying, you learn something valuable.
Yes, I learned that I need to practice and more, be more confident.
If you could do the English course again, what would you do differently?
I will participate more actively in conversation. I will also practice English outside classroom. Yeah.
Would you change your studies habits?
My studies habit, yeah. You know, my studies habit so bad.
I agree. Consistency is probably more important than studying for many hours once in a while. So, do you still think remedial is bad thing?
Yes, the remedial give me a second chance because this now I see it as another opportunity to improve.
Okay. That's a much better perspective, yeah.
I just hope the preparation pay off.
I'm sure it will if you keep practicing.
I'm so depressed, but thanks Hafiz, your
Yeah.
advice really helped.
No problem. And if you need someone to practice with, you can ask me.
Really?
Of course,
Oh,
we can practice
God,
all of
thank
our
you.
topics together.
That would be great.
But there's one condition.
What's that?
You have to correct my English too if I make a mistake.
Deal, Hafiz, deal.
Okay, good. Then let's start practicing.
Okay, I'm ready.
Good luck with your remedial assignment, Aldrin.
Thank you, Abis.
Yeah.
Hopefully my grade will be better this time.
I'm sure can do it.
Thank you later.
Okay, see you.
Thank you.